Okay, I thought I had made this video and must have deleted it, but anyway, it's about Ethan, who is a young man who it took him a while to graduate from, get his bachelor's degree. His parents had sent him to school. He was from a wealthy family and he was going to have a good inheritance, and he just felt like, what's the reason for it? He didn't want to work. And yeah, he was that spoiled, and his parents said, no, you're going to work. And so he finally chose a major, which was in agriculture, because he kind of liked it, and it was something, but he had this narcissistic sense of entitlement. And the elders weren't going to allow it either of the county. And that's how their counties run in Victorson County, Texas. And it's a lot of details, but as time went on, he did go back. He did go and get his bachelor's. And his parents, the elders actually got him a job running a farm, and out in a town called Hippie-town. And he was okay with it. He met some people on the farm. He was the boss already, and one of the bosses. And he liked them, made some friends and everything, and kind of changed his world a little bit. He had the responsibility, and he had his friends, And at some point, all these guys, and they were around their same age, they were around in their like 30s, or some of them were late 20s, like that, and then some were, early 30s, maybe to mid 30s, and they were, just guys, and they wanted to go camp. They were going to camp, but it's mainly going hunting in an area that nobody has, they've never known anybody to go out there, and they're just going to go, act like they're going to do something maybe. They really weren't wanting to kill anything, but just to act like they were hunting, and nobody was fooling one another. And they can do camping and exploring the woods and the wilderness, and just get away. And let me see, I'm looking at my notes, and okay, anyway, and eventually they were going out there to this area that was really kind of like unexplored, and in the county. And they ran across a compound. Okay, yeah, a compound. And it basically scared them really bad. They knew to not react, They had their own guns, but what they saw was just shocking to them. They weren't even really, they were such in shock they really weren't able to think fast enough. But they started using kind of like, talking with their hands and keeping quiet, and it's kind of like when you're doing charades and nobody yells it out. I had that happen with Adam recently. I say, I'm going to play charades, but I don't want you to say it out loud. Of course he did. He's older than I, and of course he does. He doesn't understand whispering. He doesn't understand, when you're talking with your hands and you're not trying to say anything. He doesn't get it. He really doesn't. It's always been kind of a little strange to me. But anyway, this guy Ethan and these guys, they saw this compound, and it seemed kind of scary. It actually seemed to them, none of them were saying it, but it seemed once they left from there, they quietly left from there, they all said, yeah, they saw the same thing. It looked like men were making furniture, men of different ethnic groups, and they were making furniture, and they were tied to they were chained to where they were working. And they all said they saw the same. These are young guys, and it wasn't real close. They weren't real close, but what they thought they saw, they all said the same thing, and that there were women out working fruits, doing mainly vegetables, and in the fields, different ethnic groups, a variety of ethnic groups. and it freaked them out so bad. But they were like, "What is this? Does it even have a road goes to it?" They had walked, and so they quietly left. And it was so dark to them, and they talked about it. After they got far enough away, they called the law enforcement, and they said that they would meet him out there. So okay, I was losing my voice, but they were going to meet them out there. There being there's this these old tenement homes that were renovated. They're rather nice, and they're on the outskirts of that town. And there's several of them, and they've changed one of them into law enforcement, like police and stuff, and then another one, another sheriff's sheriff office. The sheriff is Mitch. He is on the other side of catty corner to that in the county. But there's what do they call that? They call it annex or whatever, where other people from the sheriff's department, they're there, and they've just recently moved all there. And just recently, really recently, they had arrested a bunch of people who were doing, they got them on mainly traffic violations, but they were doing a lot of things in videos on the 2 social media platforms for the Victorson County, and ruining some business, or trying really hard. They didn't really care. They were just getting money from people watching. The more reviews they would give these businesses, and there were negative reviews, the more negative they were making money. The people were paying them. Some of the just people who were low down themselves. So, and they arrested these people. They were actually called, in Victorson County, they like to call things the this or the that. They call it the ruiners case. They had to figure out who these were and all this stuff, because they don't show faces, and then by contract and all that, and so on and so forth. But they arrested a bunch of them on these were people who would make videos of themselves breaking traffic laws and doing things like parking in the handicapped zones and spots, and they were food delivery people and grocery deliveries, and they felt like, I'm only going to be there for a few minutes. Why should I worry about it? No. In Texas, I looked it up recently. I could be wrong what I saw, but it said something like it could be up to $1,250 and 50 community service hours, or something like that. If that was the right thing, it could have been on something else, but I think it was that one. And anyway, they arrested these people, a bunch of them, because what they were doing was they did it. Who does that? Who videos themselves breaking the law? One of them, she did actually some what's the term for it? Some property damage or something. She kicked a bunch of plants, potted plants, and broke some of the pots because she was mad. She was angry because the restaurant banned her from picking up any orders. They banned her because of the way she was, her appearance. She smelled filthy. Her hair looked filthy. Her clothes looked filthy, old and filthy, and they didn't want her representing their business, so they banned her. They just clicked this button, and they told her that the order's already been picked up by 3 people tried and stuff like that, and that's what they were told to do. And anyway, she got through a hissy fit and started, whatever that term is. I remember, I forgot it. But anyway, she wound up with more than that. But now, these 2 things with Ethan and this are going to be connected later on together. Okay, so I want to get, Ethan, her name is Ursula, and the other people, there are other people, names and all that, but there would be, part of the ruiners, and it's all going to get connected. So eventually, I just wanted to put this out there since I did something with that video. Don't know what it was, don't know what happened to it. I did go, there was a time I went and deleted a bunch of videos off of my cell phone. It was just taking too long. Something was going on. It was taking me too long, and then my cell phone had too many videos on it, so I just deleted a bunch of them. And I felt like doing it today because it's getting close again. And my internet service for whatever, my Wi-Fi is all of a sudden gotten slower. And instead of it taking like 3 minutes to upload it, it's saying 3 hours, and I come back, like even the next morning, it's still saying 3 hours. It never does it do that. Very rare in over all these 11 years, 11 and a half, and that's when something's wrong. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's very rare, so very, very. So anyway, let's see what happens.